So Jim Edwards here for MMA Latest. I'm joined today by Minotauro Nogueira.
How you doing, man? How are you guys doing? Good.
Welcome to London, first of all. Have you been around at all? How many times have you been here?
I won a couple times. I came to the UFC show a couple of years ago, and it was pretty good. You know, exciting to see how the sport grew in the country, and so many good fighters in Europe right now. You know. We have the Ireland guy in McGregor. He brings a lot of, you know.
Never heard of him.
And yeah, it's good, exciting enough to see this thing in London, the main event. Oh, kid,
yeah. So I mean, you've now stepped away from sport. You now retired. What have you been up to since you stopped competing?
Yeah, I've been working for years in Brazil, you know, as a Brazil. And I'm very excited, you know, to help the Brazilian guys when they're traveling. I try to follow them and show them they can, you know, find a few talents from Brazil and try to help them out to promote themselves. So it's really good work, you know, work with the UFC. And I've been traveling a lot since then.
Yeah, I know your brother has a big fight coming up against Patrick Cummins. Have you been helping him prepare for that?
Yeah, Rogério is getting in good shape, you know, he's working his cardio a lot for this fight, you know, working his wrestling. We brought some Russians to help him out in his wrestling. He works in jiu-jitsu, you know, he works really good at boxing with some good coaches from the Brazilian Olympic team. So he's going to be well prepared, you know. I know it's a tough opponent. Pat Cummins is a really high-level wrestler, but Rogério will be, you know, ready to fight.
Yeah, I know a few weeks ago we had very sad news that Kevin Randleman had sadly passed away. I know you were in Pride around about the same time as him. Do you have any memories of him? Or?
Of course, you know, he was a tough fighter. You know, one of the biggest memories we have, you know, was he did like a super throw, you know, and his fights. Yeah. Against Emelianenko Fedor, you know, he was really good. You know, one day he was fighting Shogun's brother. We just won the fight. He called me to his room. Yeah. You know, he said, "Man, I come to the room," and he looked at me and said, "I gotta knock this guy out." You know, so he did it. You know, he won the fight. You know, he was my friend, a good friend of mine, and very intense guy. He trains hard. Always, he was in the fight. He you know, a lot of power, a lot of heart. And he have a good memories in UFC as well, you know. Good fighter.
He certainly was. He certainly was. And obviously, there's a new promotion over in that part of the world now, Rizin. What do you make of that promotion? Have you been involved in looking at it at all?
You know, I'm not involved because I'm working in UFC, but I've been following, I've been seeing the shows. You know, they're very excited. They made a show in December. It was a good show. He brings some new people. And the game, you know, I got people here, you know, some girls, big girls, and it was exciting to watch. But I not really did follow that show. I was very busy working in UFC, new guys, a lot of fighters. We have like almost 90 fighters from Brazil in the UFC right now. So it takes me a lot of time to watch all of them and, you know, when they're gonna fight, who they're gonna fight. It's good, you know. I'm excited to work with.
Yeah, I'm sure. And you had an amazing career, a Hall of Fame career. But when you look back at it, is there any one fight that you didn't have that you wish you did?
You know, I cannot say that. I fought a lot of best guys in my weight division. You know, I did a lot of good things in Japan. You know, big arenas like Saitama Arena, Tokyo Dome. National Stadium Tokyo, we fought almost 100,000 people in the same show. Was, you know, biggest crowd, and I fought there in, you know, MGM Arena, you know, Mandalay Bay, all those fights in UFC. So I'm very satisfied by what I did in this sport, and you know, I'm looking forward, you know, to see new guys from Brazil, you know, new guys from UFC, from the United States to keep the sport growing.
Yeah, and one thing I've always wanted to ask you, I remember your fight with Randleman. He had you in an armbar and you refused to tap. He broke your arm. What was going through your mind at that point? It was amazingly brave, but I just always wanted to know what was.
You know, man, I had this fight in my hands. Yeah. You know, I was fighting him. I knocked him down. I was punching him. You know, in the middle of the thing, the ref come to me and said, "Don't hit behind his head." Yeah. You know what I mean? So I stopped to hitting him. You know, but I didn't. I wasn't hidden behind his head. I had to stop him and go to the guillotine top. And all of a sudden he rolls and get me down. So I thought I could escape. You know, he crashed into the end. I have a big scar on my arm, like here and there. You know, I have 16 screws on my arm, like that way, It's a big thing. A lot of, you know, I was punching that bag today, and I had a little pain on that thing. You know what I mean? But I don't want to tap. You know, when you're fighting there, you fight for the country, you fight for all your friends. I push it today.
Yeah, and it's something that we all admire about you. You're obviously in town, UFC London this week. We have a massive main event. Michael Bisping, Anderson Spider Silva.
That's a big thing.
Who is going to win, and how is it going to go down?
I'm very excited. You know, I came. You know, I went spent 2 weeks in LA to watching Anderson Silva when he came 2 weeks before the fight. You know, I've been seeing he got a lot of energy. He gets, you know, he gets right training. He's very intense right now. You know, good vibration. But I got a lot of respect for Bisping too. He brings heart. When he fights here in England, he brings all inside. You know what I mean? He's 100%. A lot of respect for him. I know he's not gonna get that fight easy. He's gonna come forward. I think that Bisping, his strategy is gonna, you know, pressure Anderson, keep coming. Anderson is counter-handed, so Anderson gonna punch him and keep the distance. It's gonna be a very exciting fight to watch. My prediction is Anderson win the fight, but it's not gonna be easy fight. You know, guys, see what's gonna happen.
Indeed. Minotauro, thanks so much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure meeting you, and all the best.
Thank you very much. I'm excited to be here in England. Thank you very much, guys.